Hey guys, Dan Book Nook Noggin here, and let's talk about Dune by Frank Herbert. This is a sci-fi classic. This has got to be right up there with other great series like Lord of the Rings by Tolkien, Game of Thrones by R.R. Martin. This is really epic, hands down one of the best sci-fi classics that I have ever read. This is probably the fifth or sixth time I have read this book, so this was a reread for me. I will admit I was kind of motivated to reread it because of the new Denis Villeneuve, film adaptation of Part 1 of Frank Herbert's Dune. Now, there's so much going on in the world of Dune. We have the Atreides family, there's Emperor Shaddam Carino, there's the Harkonnens, and there's this constant rivalry going on between the Harkonnens and the Atreides. And it seems to be more so on the Harkonnen side. But the Harkonnens are currently, at the start of this book, are the ones who have the fiefdom of Arrakis, which is Dune. Now, Dune is inhabited by these people called the Fremen. Basically means free men because, it's not explained in this book, but if you go and read the prequels, you get that whole little idea about their culture and how they got started and all that. But we're not here to learn about that. We're here to hear about Frank Herbert's Dune. Now, just as I mentioned the prequels, I want to add, if you are someone who is new to reading the Chronicles of Dune, you're going to want to start here with Book 1, Frank Herbert's Dune, the original book from the one that started the whole series. Just because, for posterity's sake, you're going to want to read these in the order they were published. It just makes more sense that way. But, this kind of has, it has family rivalries. It's got, it's got a lot of detail going on into it. The kind of explanation for the way this futuristic society is run. This was the inspiration for Star Wars. So I'm just letting you know that, this is very epic. If you are a fan of Star Wars, you're probably very much going to enjoy Dune as well. But it is kind of a big book. This one is 400 something. Oh, it's over 500 pages. So yeah, different editions have different page counts, but they are kind of thick. It's not a short story. It is very much, but it is a fast burn. I'm going to say that the first part of the story goes over the first year. And when the Atreides get the fiefdom from the Emperor of Dune, and then they come in, they take it over from the Harkonnens, and of course, being that they have that former rivalry, you can't expect a smooth transition. So, of course, things happen. And then very quickly from Part 2, there's kind of this flash forward and future of events. I never really thought about that, and all the times I've read Dune, I never really considered how Frank Herbert just kind of rushed right through a lot of events in Part 2 of this book. He kind of fast forward through Paul's, living with the Fremen and, becoming one of them. And I never really paid attention to that before. I mean, it does now, in retrospect, having read this for the fifth or sixth time, I noticed it was kind of rushed right towards that ending there, but it still is very epic, and there's so much I can tell you, but I don't want to spoil it at the same time. This is a space opera, so of course it has this, star-crossed kind of lovers kind of thing going on for it. It's sci-fi. So, Paul Atreides, who's a 15-year-old boy, is constantly having dreams of this girl on a desert planet. He's not quite sure who she is, but he knows that he knows her, and we're just going to leave it at that. We're not going to divulge and go into more detail about that. You need to read the book to find out more about that. But yeah, we've got this desert planet. It's got huge sandworms. There's the geriatric spice, which he refers to it over countless times. That is the main substance of the universe. It's like this stuff. It prolongs lives. It makes people more healthy. It makes them live a lot longer than, typically they would if they did not ingest the spice. And it's kind of like their whole trade, their whole economy is centered around this spice. And the spice is necessary for space travel because navigators who fly Guild Highliners are these huge ships that will have smaller ships inside them and transporting them through wormholes throughout the universe. So it's this spice is a very big deal. They kind of need it, they really need this stuff. Not only do they need it, they're addicted to it. And it's not addicted to it in a way like heroin. They kind of need it to live. Once you start consuming the spice, you can't just stop or else it'll kill you. One of those kind of deals. But yeah, just to let you know, I gave this a 5 out of 5 star rating on Goodreads. My rating has not changed. I still think it's a 5 out of 5 star rating book. There's just so much going on in this book. There's a lot. There's so much I could tell you about it. Very well written. You can definitely tell, I think I read somewhere else that someone from Tacoma, Washington, who is from, the area that Frank Herbert resided, kind of threw out there that, Frank Herbert was someone who was well read. And that comes across in his writing. He does write other science fiction stuff, which I've read a lot of his books. But the Dune series, by far, is my favorite from him. And like I said, his son did create prequels and an ending for the Dune series. So if you have read this and you're seeking for more, you need more Dune in your life, go check those out. The ones written by his son, Brian Herbert, and Kevin J. Anderson are very good. Most of them are very good, I'm going to say. There were a few that were kind of I felt like they let me down. But yeah, stick with the classic ones. Read those through. I think there's about 6 of them in the series. I'm going to start rereading them because it's been many years since I've read this series. So stay tuned. I will be getting into Dune Messiah and all of that, as time progresses. But yeah, if you want to get a copy of this, I will have a link to Amazon down below for you folks in the U.S. I'm also going to throw it on my coffee link if you don't mind donating $1 or $2 to that. And if you can help me out by subscribing to my channel for more book recommendations, by all means, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell. This has been Dan. This has been Frank Herbert's Dune. Sorry, there's not too much more I could say about it without spoiling it, but if you saw the film, you want to learn more, definitely read the book because it is epic. Hands down, Sci-Fi Classic that I think everyone should be reading. Now, I know that it's not for everyone. I say that everyone needs to read it, but I know that there's a few people who just couldn't. They just couldn't do it because I think it was a lot to take in. There's a lot, political stuff, religious stuff, and socioeconomic. It's just so much going on, guys. But I'm going to stop rambling. Till next time.